Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Diamond Marketing Panel of the International Diamond Week in Israel Winter Edition. We're very glad that we were able to organize this panel with distinguished guests and guests of honor. We are going to start with a welcome address by our president, Yoram Dvash.
Ladies and gentlemen, this edition of International Diamond Week is taking place during the most sensitive period the world diamond industry has never known. The gap between rough and polished prices still prevents us from making a profit, and economic and political changes continue to impact our business. The slowdown in some of our major marketing destinations are lasted far too long. This week, we have gathered on the trading floor of the Israeli Diamond Exchange, inviting our effort in developing trade relationships. To improve our business capabilities, we must understand them deeply and recognize trends. To this end, we decided to take time out to stop, think, and discuss the current situation in the diamond industry, the trends, the change, and the forecast for the future. I want to thank all the honored guests who accepted our invitation to take part in this event. The stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for those short words of introduction. Well, a Diamond Marketing Panel. We understand the importance of a panel, and I want to actually think back a few months when you, Yoram, as in your capacity, not yet president, but in your capacity as head of the marketing committee, held a kind of town hall meeting in the boardroom. You sent out by invitation only invitations, and we were very surprised to see a very large group of people showing up for that town hall meeting. It means that this issue of where is marketing and diamond marketing going is very strong among our members and and in the diamond community. It means indeed that a lot of us are coming around to the understanding that diamond promotion is one of the things that is going to save our industry, maybe not save our industry, but advance it, propel it forwards. So what is the mission statement of this panel? And I think from the viewpoint of those sitting here, of the audience, of our community, it's very simple. Tell us how are we going to sell more diamonds at higher prices and at better profits? That is ultimately what we all want to see happening in our industry. So here we're going to be speaking about all the aspects that are involved in driving sales of diamonds and diamond jewelry among consumers. And I emphasize all aspects, including those that are sometimes ignored. In today's market, and in any market, it's the end consumer who defines if a product is going to be a success or a failure. The 21st century consumer is more critical than ever before, we all know that, and will often want to know the product source, where it is made, and will inquire also after environmental and human conditions. Just think about the hype we have seen in regular consumer products, such like the controversy between Foxconn and Apple, H&M and Zara, and what happens in Bangladesh. And this is even more true for luxury consumer products, of which our diamonds and diamond jewelry are part. Think about dirty gold, and yes, think about conflict diamonds. It's all part and parcel of what we're dealing with today. Many have heard of the DPA and expectations of what the DPA will be doing for generic diamond promotion and advertising. And it can be measured, so I feel, on a scale that ranges from realistic to possibly pipe dreams. I'll quickly give you an introduction to Jean-Marc. Jean-Marc joined the diamond industry in September 2005 as general manager of the Rio Tinto Diamonds after 15 years in international sales and marketing positions for LVMH and Unilever. He was later appointed managing director of the whole Rio Tinto Diamond division, covering all activities from mining to marketing. While in this position, Jean-Marc served on the board of the World Diamond Council and as the chairman of the Diamond Producers Association, which he was a driving force in establishing. And since leaving Rio Tinto in January 2016, Jean-Marc has dedicated himself to maintaining strong momentum at the DPA, at the Diamond Producers Association, and he is here to participate in the Israel Diamond Week as its participants. And I have been given permission by Jean-Marc to give you a scoop. Jean-Marc is from this moment and onward the CEO of the Diamond Producers Association, so we'll have somebody to talk to directly, which is wonderful. Jean-Marc, I will, as I introduce the other speakers, I will also give you a little bit more information about them. But my first question is simple. Give us a short overview of how the DPA was conceived, why it has taken the producers almost a decade and a half, no, almost, yeah, to take action, and who the parent of this long overdue child is, with some hope, and with some hope will be the which some hope will be the heir to the throne of the custodian that has abdicated and is at the same time greeted by others with a lot of suspicion. And everything in between, of course. And maybe you can start and give a few minutes an introduction about the DPA and where it is today.
Yeah, thanks. And then you repeat the rest of your question for...
Yeah, don't worry. I will trick you badly.
I lost track after the first bit. Well, first, it's great to be here. Always fantastic to come to Tel Aviv. Obviously, in my previous visit, so I was coming as a diamond producer, as a miner. So I was the devil. You know, now I'm one of the industry. I was telling Eli Azakov how funny it is to go from being an industry, effectively a miner, to being truly an industry participant, which is what I feel I am. So yes. From this morning, officially, I'm the CEO of the Diamond Producers Association. So a little bit about the genesis of the association and why it came a decade late. You could argue 2 decades late. I mean, I think diamonds is one of the only commodities, one of the only products of that sort that doesn't have its own trade association. And the reason is pretty obvious. For many, many years, you had only one producer. So the BIS was effectively the Diamond Producers Association. When the monopoly effectively kind of broke 20 years back, it's taken a time for the BIS to effectively relinquish its position as the sole custodian of the industry. And I think you can fairly say it's been about 10 years now since effectively it has done so, with the emergence of Alrosa and other smaller producers like Rio Tinto, Dominion, and the other members, Petra, Gem Diamonds, and Lucara, with seven members now. So if you remember, in 2009, we were coming out of the financial crisis, and we're all looking at each other and saying, never again, and now it's time to do something, because, as you know, human beings only act under the empire of necessity. And we were coming out of the financial crisis, and we thought this is time to do something together. And we put together the International Diamond Board, which is a very different animal. It was a pan-industry organization with all different sectors represented. Pretty huge animal, which we launched in July 2009. Now at the time, 2 things happened. One, the market started going up. If you remember, May 2009, prices started going up. So suddenly we don't need it anymore. Everything is going well. Maybe we're just scared for nothing. Maybe things are all going to be good. And then that lasted actually until September 2011, if you remember. The second thing that happened was Sergei Vubonov left Alrosa, and Mr. Andreev came and decided that it wasn't something he wanted to support. So July 2009, we binned the IDB that I personally spent a lot of time on trying to get up and running. And when these things happen, it takes some time to revive things. When you've put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and eventually it fails, before you can take the stick again and get going, takes a lot of energy and a bit of time. So we decided at the time, 5 years ago, with the other producers, to start a dialogue and see whether we needed to actually formalize our collaboration. We decided a year ago that it was time to formalize it, probably because it became obvious again that what we were going through was not just a cyclical issue, that there were some fundamental issues with the diamond sector that we felt that together, working together as a group with the rest of the industry would be better. We could participate in resolving, and that was really the genesis of the Diamond Producers Association. So We announced the formation of the association in Vegas last year. If you remember, it took us some time to get our acts together, incorporate it, and so on. I was effectively elected as the first chairman in October of last year. In November, we recruited a marketing director, a managing director of marketing, in the person of Sally Morrison, whom I'm sure some of you know, who's got 30 years of experience in marketing and in jewelry, very, very experienced marketing executive. In November, we recruited an agency to support us. I'll talk more about what we're doing when time comes, but this is where we are of the journey, basically.
Yeah. And there is a question, though, that I was going to ask later in the presentation, but and which is not the $64 million question, but which has become already the $200 million question. And some are already throwing that into the ring, say, DPA, throwing that 200 million like the Bears did at the heydays and absolve us of any of the responsibilities that we may possibly have for marketing. Okay. Is that, as I said earlier, realism to pipe dream?
I'm going to keep that question for later, if you don't mind.
All right,
because
okay.
It's a really important one, and
I
think we're going to get maybe too quickly into the heart of this before we go to my colleagues there. So
yeah,
I wouldn't mind
I
just
think we're now
handing
going over to Alex Popov, and then we'll get to Stephen. Alex, you're going to give us in a moment a short overview of what the World Diamond Mark Foundation is, the World Diamond Mark in short. If we are going to remain in the metaphor that I used earlier, we know that the World Diamond Mark is actually a child of this audience, of the World Federation of Diamond Bourses, and therefore of the bourses. And therefore it will find out that it actually has a child that it didn't know it was conceived.
As you said, we come from the humble origins, and we come from the midstream of the diamond industry, and we kind of been organized as the voice of the people to see what we can do while the big guys are doing nothing. And we started to do something with our meager resources and with a lot of enthusiasm, and we've got somewhere. And I believe that those people who are involved and the industry knows a little bit of what we're doing, and I would be gladly telling about this further. Just to wrap it up, I see our place in this big effort as the voice of the common people, as the voice of people who see the customer every day, who are involved at the very, very low level everyday business with people who ask questions and who would like to maybe they would like to buy more diamonds, but they don't know why, and they don't know why they need it at all. So here we come, and we try to walk on the other end of the diamond pipeline to reach the common goal. And I will add later on whatever you want to ask. Thank you.
Okay. We would like you actually to talk a little bit about your business, about how diamonds function in your business, what you find special about it, and how particularly have diamonds helped make you the success that your business has become. And you started your business some 20 years ago, and it would be interesting to hear how you have marketed your diamonds, how you see the consumer today. But what we got, maybe in that we'll do it the next stage. Give us an overview of where you are in marketing jewelry and diamond jewelry.
Yeah, thank you, Jakob, for inviting me for the second time in my life to come to Israel, which I'm very excited about. Yeah, I have I suppose an interest in business in as much that it's really been driven by the creativity that I surround the materials that I work with. And I would say in the last 20 years, which is when my business has grown. I've been a jeweler for 40 years, but for the last 20 years, my business has grown. And my client has been very much a woman, a female client, buying jewelry for herself. And I think 20 years ago, that was probably quite unusual to have that as the core of your business. I think 20 years ago, it might seem like, you know, that's the normal these days, but 20 years ago, I don't think it was. And it was because whatever it was that a woman was finding in my jewellery that she wanted to buy it herself allowed my brand to grow, because we were considered, I think, to be fairly radical in my design. I didn't think it was radical. I just thought it was what I did, and like I say, it seemed to sort of bridge part of the process of what was normal in the jewelry business.
So you were actually getting women to spend 2 months of their own salaries on diamond jewelry instead of having the men spend it.
Apparently so, yeah. I don't know about 2 months, but anyway. But it was definitely working that way, and I think it was it started to create a lot of things that were the foundation of our business, because, like I said, I could be as adventurous as I wanted to be as a designer. People seemed to be finding reasons to want the jewellery that wasn't just about occasion and sort of anniversary, if you like. It was any time. And this was where we just started to build. I mean, it originated in the States. I think probably we may say the consumer there might be more advanced. Could possibly be because I was more present in that market than anywhere else. I mean, I'm from England, but England's never really been a huge, sort of consumer outside of London for jewellery. So it was in the States, and I think it started sort of quite small, and then it started to really roll, and people were talking more and more and more about women's self-purchase, and we were there at the heart of that, along with other brands, I think, that were probably driven by their creativity. And like I say, 20 years down the line, we're still doing that. But I think that was the foundation of what allowed us to become the brand that we are.
Diamonds are a big part of your jewellery.
Yeah, diamonds are a big part of my jewellery. I feel that for me, my jewellery is quite glamorous. Diamonds are definitely glamorous. I think without the diamonds, there would be a major part of that glamour would be missing. I think it's, it's something that's always there for me as a component, a diamond, and a very important one. I would say alongside gold, it's probably the two parts that I use more than any other single component. But I think the major kind of thing to take into account is that people come to me because of the design first, and then the component parts. So I get judged the same as everybody else does on the quality of those parts, whether it's the quality of the materials I use or the craftsmanship or all the other elements that have to be, the boxes that have to be ticked in fine jewellery. But people come to me first for the creativity. We
see that you started your business about 20 years ago. Do you feel that the diamond promotion that was at that time still valid and still working, the DPS and the beers, had an influence and played an important part in your success?
I suppose to a degree, just because I can't ignore that people are made more and more and more aware of the qualities of diamonds through the different bodies that exist. I don't know how instrumental that's been in my business, because I'm not so much the go-to designer for specific diamonds. I know that sounds a bit strange being in front of the diamond industry here, but it's just a reality. And I think that definitely regarding the responsibility of diamonds, the sourcing of diamonds, that does come up for me along with everything else that I use. And I'm sure that most people in the luxury business are going to find that in all the component parts. So I think there's times when it's more important than others. I think definitely now what Patricia was talking about with the responsibility, that's for sure very important. I'm not too sure how much that adds not the responsibility, but you know, different focuses on diamonds. I don't know how much that adds to a brand like mine.
Okay, maybe we'll get back to that. So we have spent the first hour, time runs quickly, of this panel, and let's try and delve a little bit deeper into the topic of generic diamond marketing into more detail. And Jean-Marc, you have a strong background in high-end retail jewelry business at LVMH, which I see as part of the Plaza Vendôme culture. It has given you a lot of downstream market experience. The question is, what is needed to make generic diamond promotion work in these days and times? Is it back to the past? What consumer market are we looking at? And what can we expect from the DPA? What tools will work best? Any idea about the scope of the funding needed that we earlier talked about?
Okay, well,
Lots of
thanks.
questions.
Yeah, lots of questions. So maybe I'll start with the role of the DPA. I think that's a good starting point. So it's a producer association, 7 members today, representing about 85% of world supply. I've named them, open to more, obviously. The first, three main roles of the DPA. The first is obviously to be an industry association, to represent the member, represent the interests of the members, and give the members a forum to exchange information and discuss legitimate subjects. Things we cannot discuss, obviously, are prices, customers, anything that would fall under the antitrust category. But things we can talk about clearly is how to make the diamond sector more successful, how to make our people healthier and safer in our minds, for example, and how to work better with our communities. So that's the first thing. Like any industry association, there's no hocus pocus. It's representing the interests of the members and give them a forum to exchange. A very important mission, obviously, that we're here to discuss, that we gave ourselves at the Diamond Producer Association, is to make sure that we keep the diamond dream alive, that consumers, the desire for diamonds with consumers, new generations in particular, is as vivid as possible. And clearly, the biz used to play an important role in creating the desire for diamonds and maintaining the desire for diamonds. And the biz withdrawing from category marketing has left a vacuum that I think all of us in our businesses, we feel. So, one of the objectives, obviously, of the DPA is to fill that vacuum. Whether we're going to be filling that vacuum on our own, or whether we're going to be working with our other organizations, with other trade members to do it, I think will be a matter to discuss once we've got the vehicle, the marketing strategy and the marketing programs that we want to invest in. And I'm going to talk about the timeline a little bit later. But the vocation of the DPA is to work with other key stakeholders in the industry, other key organizations, for the betterment of the diamond industry, through, in particular, the revitalization of consumer demand now and in the future. So that's clearly at the heart of our mission. The third aspect is a little bit similar to what the WDC does and what other organizations want to do, and here we really have to work all very well together, is make sure that we fill that information vacuum that there is in the industry about all the good things we do, all the benefits that communities, all the benefits that millions of people derive from the diamond sector. We need to tell our story about all the good things we do, all the benefits that we provide to communities and to the world through the activities that we do, the way that we respect the environment and the way we work, the way we provide livelihood to millions of people, including in India, and here the way we provide emotion and dream to millions of consumers the world over. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The problem is because there's no information out there that's easily accessible about all this, you leave a hell of a lot of room to, sloppy journalists, to make things up and promote, false information about a sector that's an easy target. Doesn't mean that, we shouldn't be improving on the practices that are those of the industry. Of course, we can always improve, and we may need to make a point of further improving transparency and so on. But we've got a lot of very, very good things going for ourselves that we need to be out there talking about. And we have, for example, recruited a very experienced PR and communications man based in the UK, who is, as we speak, busy collecting all the stories and all the information about all the good things that are being done in the industry, all the way from mining to retailing, and to be able to make that information available to the wider possible public, including our fellow organizations, so that we all speak with one voice and promote the reputation and protect the reputation of our industry. So going back to the category marketing, because that's what we're here to talk about, and that is the primary objective for 2016. As I said, we've recruited a marketing director in the US who's very experienced, used to be the marketing director of the World Gold Council, and worked 20 years with JWT on the jewelry, diamond and jewelry campaign. So very experienced individual based in New York. We've recruited one of the best agencies in New York called Mother, very much a progressive agency, very much in tune with the millennials targets. They've done the Calvin Klein campaigns, for example, if you've seen them, very in tune with the younger generation. And we've made them in charge of developing, together with us, a marketing strategy for the diamond category. So we've done, before Christmas, we've done a fair bit of quantitative survey to understand where the consumers are going into Christmas. We've done since then a lot of qualitative research targeting the millennials. So the idea is really to say, you know, there is a fair bit of work that's being done today to promote diamond jewelry by retailers, by the biz and so on. The focus of the Diamond Producers Association has to be the future. It has to be the younger generations, to make sure that, you know, when people who are, you know, 18 to 25, 30 today, you know, reach the age of being heavy consumers of diamonds, they've had that culture from the start. Because we know that the earlier your first diamond purchase comes, and the more it's done for yourself as opposed to as part of a convention, I'll build later on what Stephen said, and the heavier consumption is over the course of your life. So we're focusing very much on the millennials with two categories, 18 to 24 and 24 to 35. We've done a lot of qualitative research across the US. We're focusing on the US right now. We're developing, the creative brief has been developed together with the agency, and the creative teams are working as we speak. Our objective is to present the strategic direction, the research, and the campaign at Vegas at the end of May, early June. But we will be engaging with our sister organizations before that to share where we are and what we're doing. Because the more we can align behind, you know, whatever good idea there is out there, whatever good campaigns or good concept there is, the more leverage we can give it, and the more impact we're all going to have. So that's where we are on the concept. An interesting insight that I can share already on the qualitative research we're doing with millennials, and that will build on Stephen's point, and probably why Stephen's been successful, is many of these young people have not been exposed to diamond marketing ever. You know, when the beer stopped is when they reached the age of being potentially exposed to these messages. And one of the things that they quite reject is the notion of convention and obligation. So when a purchase becomes driven by an occasion or an obligation, like talking about the 3-month salary or whatever, you know, they almost have a negative attitude towards it. What's really, really important is that we find a way to reconnect with the younger generation, to connect with the younger generation at an emotional level. And a lot of the research work that we're doing is aimed at understanding what their deepest possible emotional needs are, and overlap them with what diamonds have that is so unique in terms of being billions of years in the making, being as old as the universe, having touched so many lives across the journey from the middle of the earth all the way to the ring, and how we can overlap that incredible story with the deepest emotional needs of younger generations. And what's very exciting is there are lots of ways that we can make these unique product and this unique proposition relevant to this generation, but it's not going to be on the basis of convention or occasions. It's going to be based on true emotion, on touching them at the deepest emotional level. If you think of diamonds as a brand, all the successful brands have established an emotional connection with their target. One of the issues with diamonds is that we've lost the emotional connection gradually. If you go into a store and the first thing you're being talked about is the 4 C's, the emotional connection is killed straight away. And that's a really, really important thing. So we're going to be focusing a lot on millennials and younger generations. We're going to be working long term. But we do think that whatever campaign and marketing strategy we come up with, we can make it relevant to current consumers, and we can make it to also impact short-term consumption. If you want to get something going, it's the same with you guys, with your businesses. Whoever started your business, you started your own business. A good, some of you are 3rd, 4th generation. But the guy who started didn't start with $200 million, right? He started with a little bit of money, and he made that little money grow. And what he did is he brought a value proposition that attracted money. The way I look at the way the DPA is starting is a startup. We went to the 7 founding members, and we asked them for seed money. And we got $6 million a year for the coming 3 years as seed money. Nobody is naive enough or foolish enough to think that we're going to have a huge impact on the industry with $6 million a year. But believe me, if I'd gone to them and said, we're going to start with 100 million, please all of you come with 20 or 30 million, would never have started. So we start with 6 million. It's enough to build an organization, recruit an agency, recruit a few executives, guys like me ready to work for almost nothing because they're passionate about the cause, and then develop a value proposition that it can bring to the members, that it can bring to the rest of the industry, and inspire and motivate them to put more money behind it, because there is a value proposition and there is a belief the return on investment is going to be there.
All right.
And that's the approach we're taking.
If you hadn't made a point, I would have made a point. But I guess, Stephen, you never have sold a diamond based on the 4 C's, huh?
I can't remember if I did or not, which probably
okay,
says it
so that's
all.
a point. That's a point taken as to these. I've been asked to try and make this event a little bit briefer, but it's important that everybody gets a chance to. So, Alex, you have a strong background in the luxury watch business. Diamonds are not just another luxury product. What is different? What is the world? Where is the world? What is the World Diamond Mark doing right now? In the same sense as Jean-Marc is giving an update of where we are, and I think you're on pretty a similar track. It's wonderful to hear that there is going to be a lot of fraternity between the organizations, and that there is clear intention to it. So what this industry, I guess, everybody will agree needs. Why don't you give us a quick overview?
You know that great minds think alike. The what we have been doing is basically that Jean-Marc has resumed in these 2 last sentences. We have been doing this for 2.5 years. We put together a small team of people funded by the Bourses and the World Federation, and later on by other jewellery, by other diamond marketing organizations like JJPC in India, and now others are joining. And we are developing more or less the same. And we actually call ourselves a catalyst, because that's what we are. We are the catalyst that trying to put people to think a little bit differently, and trying to put them together and to produce something new and what they haven't yet done before. And one of the things that I wanted to stress is we're right now, in terms of the immediate plans, we're building the consumer website about diamond emotions. We don't want to be the 4C information provider. It's none of our business. Nobody has ever sold the real diamond with the 4C. It's all about emotion. So we're going in the same direction, a little bit differently, more working with the retailers, and eventually we'll come more or less to the same level as everybody else. What I would like to do is quickly stop at very important thing that was said here twice. Actually, Stephen said this. we have to understand that the luxury industry treats diamonds as a component. And if we want to go out of the component, we need to do something about it. And this is one of the things that we have been trying. I'm not sure we can have the recipe how to deal with this, but it's almost sure that and I'm talking now as a representative of the midstream, the profits and the profitability of the industry and all the rest. If we are components, then we're squeezed and nothing will come out of this. And if we need to go out and try to put something that people will start treat us as a product. And I'm happy that Jean-Marc, you're working with whom you're working, because they're extraordinary people and they really know what they're doing, and I hope they will come up with some very interesting proposal how to get out of this and bring this to the different level. And one of the things that's very important to when we're talking about bringing us to the different level is to treat ourselves differently. The moment we treat ourselves as a component industry, which is not interested what's going on after the client leaves our door, we're doomed to be there forever.
So
if we're not,
very much,
we should be
very
different.
much the diamond industry itself, not the midstream itself, that needs to become involved and
Absolutely.
also become committed to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Patricia, today's consumer is very much informed also about controversial matters. And how are we going to integrate all these things together with the World Diamond Council so that the industry and the consumer will see that this is not only a concerted effort, but that nothing is going to be marketed without also touching upon the controversial things, that we are bringing the good stories to the market. Yeah.
Well, it's been a very interesting process with the World Diamond Council. Mr. Isakov has put in place an organization that is well known around the world. And in the last year, I spent a lot of time building on that and putting in more infrastructure amongst our membership within the organization itself. Now that we feel that that's in place, we are really moving on to enhance the World Diamond Council, to enhance our relationships with the other organizations. It's imperative that there are many strong voices in this industry talking about the benefits of the industry, how important it is to so many lives, the good that it brings, the positive emotions. And I think even just the fact that now there is an executive director at the World Diamond Council, now there is an executive director at the DPA. You know, I've known Alex for a long time. They're now here. It's only been a couple of years. And together we will work together to have coordinated messaging, collaborative understanding of what this industry needs to address the issues and bring better messaging to the consumer.
Okay, we're almost done. Stephen, all what you hear, will it work? Are they on the right track? Emotion, emotion, emotion?
Well, I think a couple of things that have come up that are interesting to me. I think with what Jean-Marc was saying about, you know, the sort of abandonment, if you like, of what was, which meaning, you know, this thing of 2 months' salary and 4 Cs, and I mean, to a millennial, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, partly because they probably haven't got a job, but I think a bit more than that. I've got 2 daughters who both fall perfectly into that category. So one's 24 and one's 17. And, okay, they're the daughters of a jeweller. So I think they sort of maybe appreciate jewellery more than maybe daughters of someone who's not a jeweller. But I do know that they're only going to react to certain things that I make. And, but I also, more importantly, watch the way that they consume things. And 100% they don't want to be told that this is what you've got to buy. Yep. No way. They want to think that they kind of search life, meaning the internet, and they put together the way that they want to consume in their own way. And of course that's very different to looking at a page, because to them a page, an advert, is just saying you should wear this, and they don't want to wear that. So I think that's for sure. How you work around that is how you work around it. But I think, interestingly, I'm going to share this story because you brought me here. we're all facing a lot of, challenges. I'm not immune to things. I'm facing a lot of challenges. I built a lot of my business in the last 14 years in the Russian-speaking world. I'm not looking to that world to be growing anytime soon. But we've all got to stay in business. And I think, quite interestingly, a couple of years ago, I have a very, very close friend who's an artist called Tracy Emin. And she speaks to young women. They can't all afford her art because her art is now very, very expensive. But she talks to young women. And I've known her for probably 30 years. And I felt that I could work with her product, which started because she gave me a neon sign for my store in Beverly Hills that said, "I promise to love you." And that wasn't just a message from Tracy to me. It was because she felt that this belonged in a jewellery shop, because that's the sort of thing that goes on in jewellery shops, which was absolutely a stroke of genius. It was amazing. And so it says, "I promise to love you." And I looked at her body of work and I thought, well, apart from the fact she's my friend, this is work that's so emotional. I think I can work with it as a jeweller because of all the things we've been talking about. Just emotions.
So it's about putting an extra emotion element of emotion involved.
So 2 years down the line, we launched the product 2 weeks ago. She wanted it to come out for Valentine's. I said, "I'm not really a Valentine's jeweller. If you want to go by what people think, you probably think I'm a Halloween jeweller, but I'm not. But I'm definitely not a Valentine jeweller." And she said, "Well, I think it should be Valentine's because it's all emotional." So I said, "Fine." So we launched it on Net-a-Porter, which is, I'm sure everybody knows, is an amazing retailer of luxury, but has not got a shop. Everything's online. They wrote their biggest order they've ever written for jewellery with this collection because they felt it absolutely spoke to their client, and their client buys luxury. I'd say they were fairly affluent in a more professional, affluent way than being super wealthy. There's probably some super wealthy as well, but so we launched it on that, and the way they built this up was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. No store would come close to what they did. By the time that midnight came on the night that they launched this product, and it was all gold and diamonds, by the way, so it wasn't anything else weird and wonderful, it was gold and diamonds. By the time they pressed the button, this stuff was selling out, and I'm talking about huge amounts for me in my world, and it was amazing to watch. And what was incredible is you get a lot of information from someone like Net-a-Porter about the client, not only where they live, everything about them, their age, what else they buy, all these kind of things. And so it's been a huge success for us. We've just launched it now in our bricks and mortar stores, but it's already had 2 weeks on Net-a-Porter. And I think the reason why I spoke about it is because it was diamonds and gold. They weren't huge diamonds, but then I don't generally work in huge diamonds. But it meant that a young consumer, the people that you need to talk to, will buy what we deal in if you create everything around it that's talking to them.
What Stephen said is really, really important, because what is saying is the illustration that marketing is not what it used to be. And I'm a little bit from the old school, Unilever, LVMH, the 90s, then joined the diamond business. But I worked with the agency from the start. I recruited the agency, and I started to, just like you, get a feel for, how much money is that all going to cost? And what they say to me is, "Jim, forget everything you think you know about money in this business. Forget about media buying. Forget about advertising. Forget about, we used to say when I was in the marketing business, when you spend 100 million, only 30 million, actually it has an impact. The problem is you don't know which 30 million. And I say, now we know. You just spend the 30 million. And I think what you're describing, Stephen, is just what's really new for us, is we need to adjust to new channels. We can be very targeted. We can use these new channels in very, very effective manners. They are highly appropriate for emotional. They lend themselves very well to emotional messages, to creating a direct connection with the target. And I think, when we talk about, is it 100 million, is it 200 million, is it 300 million? I don't even want to have that discussion. It's all about the impact we want to have.
All about the impact we're going to have. I think that's a great sentence to conclude this panel with. And we're going to say to you guys, actions speak louder than words, and we're going to see what you are going to be coming up with. I would love to see a continuation of at the next event and hear more about where you are and how it has progressed. I think it was riveting, very interesting. We often have events where we really need to stir it up, but I think we have been very successful in getting in a conversation going, and in one speaker after another, complimenting each other. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Really, I most appreciate it.